Welcome back to Optimize with Jeffrey Delaney. Today, I have a special guest. He's a client, a longtime friend of mine. And it actually came up this morning. He came in to get blood work at the clinic, and I was shocked to what I seen. So just give you a little bit of backstory on Donny. Donny has been a client for a while. He's been in health, fitness, working out, trying to eat better, trying to improve his overall life. And a while back, probably about a year ago, he was wanting to lose weight. Donny's pretty much likes to drink a couple beers here and there during the week, more than a couple beers on the weekend. And, he kept complaining about trying to lose weight and nothing happening. And he was doing all the necessary stuff that most people think that is going to allow them to lose weight or at least be in a better body composition. Yet he was doing the one thing, and that I tell so many people, so many clients being in the weight loss industry for so long, it's like that glass of wine every night or that beer, and he wasn't seeing results. And fast forward, he came in today. You're down what, 30 pounds?
30 pounds, yes.
So let's kind of talk about just your history. I've known you forever through the gym.
Forever, yeah. It's been a long time, couple decades.
And you used to be in the gym, what, 4 or 5, 6 times a week?
Yeah, 5 days. It was the normal,
And, he did all the right stuff. He used to always fix his nutrition. He would kind of follow a healthy diet plan. But Donny is like so many people that I have that come to the clinic. It's just they don't want to give up the booze or the alcohol. And listen, you could maintain your body composition by having alcohol in your diet. It's not the best thing, but everything in moderation. So tell me a little bit about, prior to knowing you over the last probably 15 years, as far as just your history with the gym, but then also like your social history.
So worked out in my 20s all the time, 5 days a week, 5 on, 2 off, or 3 on, 1 off, and ate right, watched what I was eating and everything, but liked to go out, liked to drink, and liked to socialize. And fast forward into your 30s and 40s, and you're not socializing or going out anymore. You're married with kids and everything. And so I was still going to the gym, and body changes a little bit. But I continued that habit of drinking, just casually at night, come home and have a beer after work, and
I would say, I think you started getting frustrated when you started getting a little bit older, probably later 30s. Hormones are typically something that could be a roadblock for a lot of guys.
My 40s, I started seeing the changes drastically, body-wise, with the nutrition. Even though I was eating right and the drinking, I started getting the belly.
Yeah. I mean, you put on probably 30, 40 pounds.
I always wanted to be around 195, 190. And I found myself creeping up. And a couple years ago, I hit 208, 207, 208 was where I was at when I finally had said I've had enough, and it took me a while to really get that motivation together to want to stop. And it was insane. You got to break the habit, so the first couple of weeks are kind of a blur. You got to keep yourself busy and not want to come home from work and grab that beer or whatever the case, or on the weekend, let's keep going and stay active.
Well, so, and let's kind of take a step back prior to that. We ended up correcting the hormones.
Corrected the hormones.
And that helped, and it helped you build some muscle and body composition, but not so much dropping body fat.
No.
And that's, I think, where the frustration came in. You kept kind of asking me, what else could you do what could you take to lose fat? What could you add to lose fat? And I kind of respectfully said, drop the alcohol. and a lot of people don't realize that alcohol is kind of poison to our system. When alcohol comes in, our bodies it kind of recognizes it as poison. And what a lot of people don't know, it takes anywhere from 6 to 8 hours to break down an alcoholic drink in the liver and filter it out. One of the main jobs of our liver is to break down process waste out of the system. Obviously, when we're trying to lose weight, we're trying to filter fat. We need the liver to function. And it kind of puts fat loss on the back burner when it comes to someone who's dieting and training. It's a very slow process. And I think a lot of people don't want to accept it. So my goal, is to hopefully let people hear this and really prioritize. If you're trying to manage weight, you have a little bit of wiggle room. But when you're trying to drop body fat and you're trying to lose weight and get at a better body composition, you have to pull back on it, because that is the number one thing that will halt. So once again, you were eating right, you were training, you were doing everything you should be doing outside of the alcohol, and nothing was happening.
Yeah, I think the mentality was, I was still in my 20s. Oh, I could drop this, no problem, no problem. Refusing to accept, that your body's changing and your workout routines are even changing, but hard to accept that, oh, I can't drink anymore, or I shouldn't drink anymore because I want to drop the body fat. I want to lose the weight and I want to start feeling better. Unlike in the 20s, you could rebound overnight and off you went the next day. It wasn't happening anymore like that. But it took that mindset to realize I'm not 25 anymore. I'm not 26. And that whole alcohol, it was, I don't know. The minute I stopped drinking and the minute I was able to get out of that routine, I felt immediately better.
Yep.
It was really insane. And
how much did you lose in that first, say, 2 weeks?
I didn't really stay on. I was more focused on the not drinking aspect of everything and trying to stay focused on being active and doing something to where I wouldn't do it. That the first couple weeks were a blur, unfortunately, but I was down 10 pounds almost overnight. It feels like,
Well, I was going to say a lot of that has to do with not just the inflammation that it causes, right? The inflammation in the system. So you tend to hold a lot more water weight. Alcohol is naturally a diuretic. It inhibits aldosterone. So a lot of people, when you drink, that's why you pee, you'll diurese. But then what happens is your body has to catch up on the water balance. So the next day you start rehydrating and you tend to hold more fluid than you did before. And so you tend to see the weight never move. So one of the biggest things I'm sure you probably felt, even though you were just focused on the don't have a beer, was, a lot of the water weight and inflammation that comes off the first week. And I'm sure, what did you see, not just in how you felt through your day, but did you notice a big difference in your sleep? And
I did. I didn't wake up feeling, I always thought I slept pretty good drinking. Oh, I slept all through the night. It was amazing. But then you still wake up, you feel tired, you feel groggy. I felt more clarity when I woke up. I didn't need as long to get moving the next day.
You didn't need as much coffee.
Didn't need as much coffee.
Well, I'll tell you, you just hit something. That's another thing that happens. A lot of people think they sleep better, they sleep deeper, and it might kind of drug you to go to sleep, but you don't get REM sleep. There's studies showing that you could halt 25 to 30% of the REM sleep that happens with alcohol in the system while you're sleeping. So that's one more piece of the puzzle. I always talk about the 3 pillars, nutrition, physical activity, and then sleep. And so if you're sitting there having alcohol and you're not getting as much REM sleep, your body's not repairing, you're not recovering as quick. And so that's one piece of the puzzle that really halts a lot of people in their overall, I guess, goal of trying to get a better body composition and lose fat.
Exactly. And the other thing with that too, you wake up the next morning and say you're the morning gym person like I am. You find excuses not to go. Oh, I'm just still tired, or I don't feel all that great, or I shouldn't have had that drink last night. I'll change it tonight and start again tomorrow. And you just find yourself in that cycle where you do it all the time and make those excuses.
And then I'm sure in the gym, the days you did go, your performance was crap.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, obviously dehydrated muscles don't perform well. There's so many negatives that go, and I'm not trying to tell people not to drink or not live life in moderation, but I'm really trying to drive home that if you're trying to drop fat and that's the one thing that you have in and you're not seeing results, I guarantee you cut back on that, or at least take it away temporarily, or put it in moderation, you'll start seeing some results.
Definitely. I was not expecting these results. I mean,
I mean, I was shocked when I saw you this morning when you came in for a blood work. I was like, you got a minute, man? We got to get this on video because
I expected 10 pounds. They always tell you you're going to lose 10 pounds if you stop drinking alcohol. You always heard that your whole life, or, you know, or hear it wherever. So I expected, okay, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'll be around 195. I'll be great. And then it just kept falling off back down to where I'm naturally around the same weight. I'm at 177 today on everything. And I stay constantly between 175 and 180 now without really any work or anything. 3 pant sizes, you know, down.
And you're still eating the same. You're still training the same. You're still, everything else stays status quo. And you even like periodically now add in, you know, maybe on the weekends, 4th of July weekend, maybe have a couple drinks. I mean, you definitely probably feel the effects of it more so now that you don't do it all the time. You realize how much better you feel when you don't do it. So, you know, that's a big one for a lot of people. I'll tell you another kicker that is kind of more insult to injury is, you know, a lot of people that drink alcohol, whether it's a beer or a glass of wine or whatever during the week, and then maybe on the weekend they throw down a little bit, how, you know, it inhibits your inhibitions. And what happens with a lot of people is they're so good during the day and they're training, they're exercising, and then they have a couple drinks and then they're like, we'll worry about the diet tomorrow. How often do you feel like those couple drinks a night would kind of help, it would make you loosen up on your diet?
Oh, for sure. And it would also, I became snacky.
Yeah.
Per se, you know, oh, there's ice cream in the freezer. You know, I have kids at home. Oh, there's a popsicle. Let's have a popsicle. That sounds great. I'd never do that without the drinking and everything. Or, oh, there's potato chips in the pantry or whatever. Pop open a bag of Cheetos, you know, and it's 9 o'clock at night and you're like, what are you doing right now? Why are you eating this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's one small piece of it. You know, but the big one, and which was exactly your situation, was just what it was doing for preventing you from getting to where you wanted to be goal wise.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So what do you feel, I guess now, how does your day look different with, you know, not having alcohol and maybe a little bit each day, and kind of, do you miss it?
I don't actually. I don't miss it at all. I don't, I'm around people that still had drank from time to time. Does not bother me one bit. I don't feel the urge to want to have to drink. I mean, there are times where, oh, a beer sounds nice, a hot afternoon, you cut the yard or whatever, let's have a beer, or you're at the sports bar. But even there, I don't miss it. I drink water or, you know, have something else. I don't really drink sodas anymore with that. That was the other thing with the alcohol, was the sodas. And
well, so let's talk about that then. You know, so outside of alcohol, you know, if you're having a shot or you're having something that's lower calorie, you're having a light beer, they're like, oh, it's not bad. Or I did a shot of tequila. Unfortunately, you know, that's an additional, I call insult to injury with what you're drinking, you know, because a lot of times if you're doing a sugary drink or beverage or a mixed drink that has a lot of sugar in it, now you're just adding extra calories during that time, which tends to kind of, once again, it's insult to injury. It just makes the situation a little bit worse. But I think a lot of people tend to underestimate just the overall like calories that they get, not only from the drinks or the beverages they have, but then the food that they eat afterwards. So, you know, it's just, you're hitting, and it's just funny for you to finally like be like, man, you were right.
Definitely.
You know, it's because I you know, I know you pretty closely and I've just harped on you on it for so long. And it's nice to see you kind of make that switch. And, you know, I think you could be a good testimony for people to make a temporary change to at least get to where you need to be better composition, be in a better spot. And then, you know, my hopes for most people is to do it in moderation, you know, still be able to have that balance in life. I mean, life's too short to just be super rigid or have orthorexia to where you're like, well, I'm not going to go out and I'm not going to eat and I'm not going to drink. It's just, you know, just try to live your life, I would say 70 to 80% good, and still have those, you know, those little moments where you're going to have fun. You're still get loose. You'll probably pay for it and you probably won't feel good when you do it, but it's, you know, just kind of shift how much you're good versus bad.
And I would tell somebody, you know, give yourself the 30 days. Just don't drink for 30 days.
I tell people, give them 1 week.
Yeah.
Give me 1 week and
see
watch
how
what
you
happens.
feel and see how, you know, it's the old, what is it? 30 days to make a habit, 30 days to break a habit, cliche. Just give yourself 30 days to see how you feel afterwards. You're not going to miss it.
Yeah.
I can promise you that.
I think once you get past probably closer to that 3-4 week mark, it's kind of like, wow, I do feel better. My days are better and I sleep better. And you're seeing a lot of the things that you're kind of causing from doing it. And so, I hope a lot of people listen to this story and just kind of take initiative. For the ones that care, listen, if you're good where you're at and body composition is good and you're having drinks and you're fine with it, but it truly is one of the biggest deterrents to just being overall healthy. And so I'm hoping that this story and this situation spurs a lot of people to really just dive deep for the interim of that moment where you're trying to drop, because, it just give it 30 days and watch what happens. I see so many people spend so much money and time and trainers, and they buy the right meals and they buy organic food, but then they're sitting there just wrecking themselves every single night, or at least, or not even, let's not talk every night. Cause you were like, what, 1-2 beers a night?
Yeah.
And then a few more on the weekends.
More on the weekends. And you just develop that habit where it's like grabbing a bottle of water, come home from work. Yeah, I want a beer.
And that daily is, a big one for a lot of people to initially see success. But even the weekend warriors, I know so many people that go Monday through Friday, super strict, super good. They make some progress for the week and then they null it.
Well, your weekend warriors probably drink more than I would during the week on the weekend, too, on everything. You're watching the football game on a Sunday and you down 8 or 9 beers during the 5-hour game and don't realize that you drank 8 or 9 beers
and 40 wings and
exactly.
Listen, I used to be there too. I when I was younger, I think I could do it all. And when you're young and your metabolism's good, I think you're able to process things a lot better and quicker and get results at an early age. But as you do get older, it becomes more difficult, and it's kind of like putting an anchor in the water, when you're trying to lose weight.
Yeah. So. And trying to drive the boat and leaving the anchor on the ground. And it's just, you're just going 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back when you're doing that drinking. It took a while for me to believe it. Let's just put it that way.
Well, some people don't want to accept that that's the thing that's holding them back, unfortunately. But ultimately what I've seen, once again, and you're talking 2 decades worth of dealing with weight loss, nutrition, body composition, health, and wellness, that is the number one thing that really is going to slow your progression, slow your results. You could get them. It's just not going to be nowhere near as fast as you wanted. And so how long did it take, like when you started cutting back and you got, like you said, it took a couple weeks. It was a blur for the first couple weeks. How long did it take you to lose like the 30?
Again, I wasn't trying to lose 30. I was just wanting to be healthier.
Yeah.
30 just happened to be that number that fell off of me when it was all said and done. It's been about a year total, and a couple months maybe. But again, that was never my goal. I just wanted to be healthier. If 185 was the goal, then that was the goal. I was just shocked that 30 pounds came off. And the only change I've done in my life is I've stopped drinking probably 360 days a year out of the 365.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, you saw it firsthand. It's nice to see somebody actually take the advice and adhere to it and reap the benefits out of it. And then, ultimately what's cool is your mindset has shifted and changed, and now you probably feel better now than you did over the last decade.
Oh, I feel amazing now compared to back then. My joints feel better. Yeah. I mean,
minus some of the old man osteoarthritic issues that are happening.
But, like the knees, carrying the extra 30 pounds, my knees would hurt at times. And, my elbows and my shoulders a little bit more than what they do now. And I noticed as the weight was falling off, my joints were also feeling better from not carrying that weight.
Yep. It compiles down. I mean, like I said, 5-10 pounds is a drastic change to your knees and hips. I know you're actually in the process of getting the other hip done.
I am, unfortunately. Probably in 5 months or so. And I look forward to that more now with the body shape that I'm in than what I was when
Oh,
I
you're
had
going to
the
recover much quicker.
Yeah.
I mean, we obviously recovered pretty quick with the other one, but
We did recover pretty
Yeah.
quick with the other one, but it would have been a lot quicker and better, I think, especially the rehab part after the
Yeah.
fact, with everything. If I didn't have that extra weight on me,
Well, I
that
always say the good thing is we got like peptides that heal fast. So, and we've used them firsthand, some of the Wolverine peptides and things just to kind of really get you back in the game quicker. So, well, if you were to give kind of like the best advice, at least from your end, from your story, to help somebody else out as far as when it comes to alcohol and weight loss and just kind of making that shift, what would it be?
I mean, it's not going to be easy to stop right off the bat, but you have to give yourself that chance to do it. So mark a date on the calendar. I'm not going to drink until this date, whether it's 3 weeks later or whatever, and then see where you're at. Do
Yeah.
I even want to have that drink now? I just broke that routine. Or start out with Monday through Friday. I don't want to drink. I'm only going to drink on Saturday this week. And then,
Wasn't that the thing I told you first off?
yeah,
I told you, like, listen, let's just cut the weekly and stick with the weekend. And then once you get that down, let's cut back on the weekend. I know that's what I tell everybody, especially someone who's in it. It's hard to go cold turkey.
It is. There are some people that have that all or nothing mentality. And on certain things, I can do that. The alcohol was a struggle with that. And I started with let's not drink during the week. Let's have the drink on the weekend. Not drink on Sunday, and just on Saturday. And then it just, who cares after that?
The cool thing about that, though, and I always say that's your first step, is cut it during the week, because then you see when you do the weekend, you're like, holy crap. Like you feel it.
Yeah. And you're going to feel better going to work during the week. You're going to feel better getting up, going to the gym. I mean, most people, their rest days are on the weekends.
Yep.
So if you're not drinking during the week, you're going to have your better workouts, and you're going to feel more clarity and everything. And then the weekend comes, and when you do have those drinks on Friday night and your Saturday's wasted because you feel like crap during the day, you're going to realize, well, yeah,
maybe I'll cut back the weekend or a weekend, and then maybe 2, and then just save it for special occasions.
Definitely. But I would put a date down. I would set some goal, some date, and something easy to attain. Not say I'm not going to drink tonight. That's an easy goal to attain for anybody. But 5 days, 6 days, and see how you feel after that. And because it does take time to break that habit. It took time for me to break that habit.
That's a vice for a lot of people. Unfortunately,
it was for me. I mean, it was an easy coping mechanism when I would get home from work.
You think you're going to de-stress, but you're creating more stress on the backside, right?
Yeah. With the kids at home, you got all everything you need to do. Let's just come in, grab a drink, and start the next job of running the household at night. And you're just de-stressing, but like you said, you're not.
Yeah.
And you're just causing yourself so much more. And then your body starts changing, and you start put on this weight. Oh, now you're starting to give yourself more stress, and I need to change. Just, set a goal and just do it. You'll be amazed at how you feel after you.
Well, and I think a lot of people just get to the point where they're frustrated, and they just figure like it's not in the cards for them. And it's like, you don't have to go 0 to 60. Once again, like I remember when you were first having, like, you were frustrated and you weren't seeing it. And it was like, all right, let's clean the food up a little bit. And you did. And then let's physically get active, and you did.
Yep.
But then you're like, well, I'm still not seeing the results. And I was like, all right, let's work on the last piece of the puzzle. And, and for you, that was that beer a night during the week, and some beers and drinks on the weekend.
Yeah, those calories or
your rum and Coke or whatever. I forget what your drink was.
Crown Apple, and Captain Morgan at times. But it was, it was all those wasted calories that you were just adding to everything too. Or, I used to love wine at times. I would, go out to dinner, have a nice glass of red wine or whatever. I know the women love their white wines. My wife does. And I tell her all the time.
That's a tough one. So a lot of people are going to say, well, he got results because he's a guy. Guys can stop alcohol and they're going to drop 30 pounds. Not necessarily, but it's like, a lot of women want to not accept that wine. Like it's not going to be the same for them. And I could tell you firsthand, male or female, if you're hitting most of the pillars or trying to hit the 3 pillars and you have alcohol in, like if you can cut back on it, if you can cut it out, I promise you will see results when it comes to trying to get to your body composition goals. If you are truly trying to lose weight, and once you're there, you could work it back in moderation, and hopefully it's easier to keep it in moderation like you're doing right now. It's just, but definitely if that's the thing that's in your plan and you're not seeing results, I promise you, just buckle down for a week, then maybe make it 2 weeks. And then, until we get you to where you need to be. And then once you're there, let's talk about moderation.
And you'll be amazed at how you feel too.
Yeah.
The just overall feeling that you have waking up every day and not the grogginess and the.
Yeah. I remember you called, you're like, God, dude, I'm getting up. I'm crushing my workouts again. I'm going to work early. I'm kicking ass at work. And so, I'm just glad you were able to come on today, short notice, and be able to kind of share your story, just because, like I said, my whole goal is to kind of inform and educate other people to make educated decisions in their health, to be able to get to where you need to be so you could be your best self. And it makes me so happy to see you kind of like back to your old self.
I am. I actually feel better than I've felt in probably 10 to 15 years now. And I'm back down to where I probably was 10 to 15 years ago. With everything. So
that's the Donny I remember. So, well, I appreciate you coming on, man. Sharing your story. Definitely just giving the words of wisdom and firsthand experience when it comes to, alcohol and how much it was really holding you back. And, if you're listening and you're contemplating or questioning if that's something that, could be holding you back, I urge you to try to cut back on it and watch your life change. Once again, this is something that it's one piece of the puzzle, but that's a big one that really you could put in the work and you put in the effort and you put in the training and you're doing all this work and you handicap it with something so small. And so if this message resonates with you and hopefully you could kind of buckle down and start kind of doing it in moderation, that's the goal of today. Whether you're trying to lose weight or you're just trying to be better across the board. So like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any other topics that you feel might be holding you back or topics you want to cover, we could definitely cover it on Optimize here with Jeffrey Delaney. Stay tuned for the next episode.